Newly divorced single mom, here are 5 things I loved about my husband when I first met him. He did a lot more talking, sharing information about himself than he did asking questions. Now, you might be like, well, was he self-absorbed? No, ma'am, no, sir. I think this is where a lot of women fall into like problems because they share everything too quick. He was not asking me a ton of questions about myself necessarily, especially like really personal questions. He told me who he was. He told me he was divorced. He told me he had children. He told me about his career. He told me about his aspirations. He talked to me about his friends. He talked to me about activities that he enjoyed and he loved and things he liked to do. I got to know who he was, and I love that about him because I didn't have to ask a ton of questions. He volunteered the information. Secondly, when I talked, he actually actively listened. What do I mean by that? When I did talk about certain things, he asked the right questions or he just was kind of quiet and he listened and let me share. I loved that he still believed in dating. Brought me donuts and stuff and coffee in the morning when he picked me up and drove me to work. He didn't have to do it, but he volunteered, so I took the ride. He would stand outside my office early, picking me up to take me on a lunch date. I could see him out the window. I loved it. When he gave me a ride home, he wasn't always trying to come up and come in the house. He knew I had kids, and he was just like taking me home. Would give me a kiss because we had gotten to that point, and that was it. The 4th thing I loved is how he took care of his kids. One had just started high school. The other one had just started college. So like 15 and 18. He taught me the difference in quality time and quantity time, and I will never, ever forget it. He prioritized the time he spent with them. And that meant a lot to me because it let me see the kind of paternal love that he was capable of and what kind of stepfather he would probably potentially be. One child was biological and the other one was adopted. I also had an adopted child, so that was really important to me, the depth of love that he was capable of. And the last thing, I'm not going to lie, he spoiled me. He absolutely showered me with. And the final thing, guys, he absolutely just spoiled me. And I wasn't used to that because I had come from a marriage where I felt like I was doing everything. I'm not even going to get into that and ruin the beauty of this particular video. But I just felt like I was doing everything, raising the kids and everything around the house and just kind of struggling to make things work. And he's just really took up the slack in every single way imaginable. And I fell in love. Absolutely fell in love with the fact that he cared enough. He used to just do all kind of small things like leave me money here and there, things like that. And sometimes I would say, don't do that because it kind of made me feel weird. But he was like, no, I'm giving this to you because I want you to have it. Go buy yourself something. And I wasn't used to it. But I'm telling you right now, those small things made a huge, huge difference in the way I felt about being courted by him. He didn't want to talk about it. He was just like, nope, it's yours and I want you to have it. I mean, clearly he knew I was starting over, had started a new job. I was new to the city, all those things. But he didn't have to do it. Because I didn't have to ask him to do it. He just did it. And to this day, I love that about this man that I said I do too. Because I rarely ever have to ask for anything. He pays attention, he remembers, and making me happy makes him happy. Now, I know I've said no one can make you happy, you have to make yourself happy, but you guys know what I meant. Bringing me happiness makes him happy. Putting a smile on my face, making me laugh, giving me comfort, doing things that take away stress, those kinds of things make him happy. That's the kind of man that he is. And that's the man that I married. And those are the things that made me just simply fall in love with him. When I met him, married him, and 30 plus years later, he is still that same dude. And I love that about him. Do things change over time? Yes. Everything changes over time. Finances, health, our energy level, our ability to do some of the things that we did when we were in our 30s, 40s, or 50s, and for my husband, even 60s. So yes, those things do change, but the king that he is, the man that he is, the code that he lives by is still who he is, which is why I still celebrate him and will always celebrate him and will stand by him as his queen, because even when I see anything that may be a little less than the man that I know that he is in terms of his character, I will always support the man that I know he is. I fell in love with that man. He is still that man. And regardless to whether he's able to do all those things at the same level, I will always stand by him and love him. Let's mount.